Welcome to the podcast brought to you by Yrefy. More about Yrefy in a moment.
It's time for me to think about another season. I love the Senate. It's been my life. There may be more distinguished members of this body throughout our history, but I doubt there were any with any more admiration for the Senate. After all this time, I still get a thrill walking into the Capitol, and especially on this venerable floor, knowing that we, each of us, have the honor to represent our states and do the important work of our country. But Father Time remains undefeated. I'm no longer the young man sitting in the back, hoping colleagues would remember my name. It's time for the next generation of leadership.
Note to self, Mitch McConnell is only 10 months older than Joe Biden. Whoever said compound interest is the greatest force in the universe never encountered white guilt.
The most dangerous terrorist threat to our homeland is white supremacy.
This is the white co-author of a book on white rural rage.
I mean, we lay out the fourfold interconnected threat that white rural voters pose to the country. First of all, and we show 30 polls and national studies to demonstrate this, so we provide the receipts in Chapter 6. They're the most racist, xenophobic, anti-immigrant, and anti-gay geodemographic group in the country. Second, they're the most conspiracist group. QAnon support and subscribers, election denialism, COVID denialism and scientific skepticism, Obama birtherism. Third, anti-democratic sentiments. They don't believe in an independent press, free speech. They're most likely to say the president should be able to act unilaterally without any checks from Congress or the courts or the bureaucracy. They're also the most strongly white nationalist and white Christian nationalists. And fourth, they are most likely to excuse or justify violence as an acceptable alternative to peaceful public discourse.
Oh my goodness. Hide the women in chillin'. Here come white rural rage. Here comes Jed Clampett. Really? White rural rage?
Violating Minnesota State Statute 609.50, obstructing the process, which will be an additional crime.
No peace! No justice! No peace! No liberty! Here! Stand up! How could you stand? That's great, you want to get
Look at video from overnight. Protesters filling downtown, at one point briefly shutting down the entrance to the Eisenhower Expressway. And these crowds kept growing, the tensions eventually boiling over, eventually dozens filling the loop. Storefronts were smashed in throughout the area. Chicago police telling me multiple people were arrested, and you can see these confrontations between police and protesters did get violent.
Destructive in parts of Manhattan. This is just a snapshot of some of the damage the people will be waking up to in Soho. Through the night, protesters smashed into luxury stores, stealing items and clashing with police. Eyewitness News reporter Derek Waller live in Soho with what's happening right now. Derek?
Ken, good morning. And amid all that chaos last night, there was actually a shooting at 12:30 in the morning, right around the corner from where we're standing at Crosby and Spring Streets. A man in his 20s shot in the torso. And check out some of the destruction left behind. You see this police car right here that was torched amid those protests. We're standing outside the Bloomingdale's on Broadway right now.
Citywide curfew is once again in effect until 6 a.m. All businesses in Philadelphia have been ordered to shut down. SEPTA has stopped all service until tomorrow morning. So how did we get here? It's been a second straight day of destruction after a peaceful protest following the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis took a violent turn. Officers have been injured, property destroyed, and livelihoods shattered. The The National Guard has been called in to help.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
You see, Italian TV comics are doing the job that you American late-night TV comics, with the exception of Gutfeld, are afraid to do. Attention, Kimmel, Fallon, Colbert, Myers. This is how it's done.
Presidente Biden. Oh, Presidente Biden. President, Mr. President. It's okay?
Are you okay, President?
It's okay. Okay, tutto a posto. Welcome, benvenuto. No, di nuovo, mamma mia. President, Mr. President, ecco.
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Ok, it's okay.
Yeah, very good.
Si sente bene?
Yeah.
Sì.
Thank you.
Thank you, mamma mia.
Thank you very much. Feel good.
You are welcome. Buonasera. Dove va? Mr. President. Oh, mamma. No, non arriva la metropolitana perché non è la metro, it's not the subway, non è la metropolitana qui, no.
What's your name?
Con chi parla? Mr. President.
My name is Joe Kennedy.
No, Biden, lei è Biden, è Biden, ma con chi parla? Certo, prego. Ecco, se riesce, if you can. No, sta girando su, no, Mr. President, not turn, no, you have to.
Hello, my name is Joe
ma l'ha
già
salutato, lasci stare. Buonasera, Presidente Biden. Presidente. Good evening, Mr. President Biden. President. Here we are, Presidente Biden. Qui.
Here?
Yes. Good evening. Buonasera. Yes.
I said to the President of Israel,
Sì.
Mikhail Gorbachev.
No, non è Gorbachev, il presidente dell'Israele, no.
Sorry, Michael Jordan.
Cosa sta dicendo? Cosa sta facendo?
My luggage.
È la valigetta dei codici atomici quella.
No.
Lei non sta bene?
No.
Gliel'hanno fatto grosso.
I forgot to take the pills.
No, ma non sono le pillole, non sono
No,
le
I
medicine.
called the nurse.
No.
You hear about the Google's Gemini AI rollout? It was slammed for its DEI recreations. Here's how they depicted the founding fathers. I kid you not. And the revisionist history is only going to get worse. I can't wait until Google's Gemini celebrates the greatest writer in the English language, the playwright who gave us Romeo and Juliet. And I can just imagine Gemini's depiction of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. And then there is Gemini's depiction of General George S. Patton. Like I said, it's only going to get worse.
Do you think if we had stricter gun control laws that Lee Harvey Oswald would not have been able to shoot Jesus, or would he have still used a gun on the black market?
He still would have used a gun.
He still would have been able to get a gun to shoot Jesus?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you think if we had stricter gun control laws that Jesus would have not been killed?
I don't know. It all depends. If someone wants a gun, they're gonna get it and use it.
But I mean, if there were stricter gun control laws, would Lee Harvey Oswald have gotten the gun that killed Jesus? Do you think, or do you think that would have prevented him shooting Jesus?
I don't know. I really don't know.
Would that have stopped Lee Harvey Oswald from shooting him, do you think? Because he would have needed a background check to get the gun?
No. I don't think I would have. I think people find ways to get around things.
It would have been on the black market. He would have got a black market gun to shoot Jesus?
Probably.
If we had stricter gun control laws, do you think that Lee Harvey Oswald would not have been able to turn Jesus over to the Romans at gunpoint?
No, because a criminal is going to always find a way to do what he wants to do.
So he would have still got a gun on the black market to hold Jesus up at gunpoint and turn him over to the Romans?
Because criminals will always find a way to do what they have to do to survive.
I fear for our country. What makes Yrefy so different, you ask, from other investments? Well, let's quickly break it down. Yrefy offers a secured, collateralized portfolio with a strong fixed rate of return, up to 10.25%. I am an investor. There is no attack on your principal. If you ever need your money back, you can get it. You're in control. You can let your investment compound daily or take income, whatever you choose. There are absolutely no fees, and an investment in Yrefy is an investment in America's future. Simply call 888-YREFI24. That's 888-YREFI24. And when you call, you will not get a sales pitch. Just the info you need to see if Yrefy is a better investment option for you. Or log on to investyrefy.com. That's invest, the letter Y, then REFY.com, and tell them that Larry Elder sent you. WNBA legend Sheryl Swoopes hits back at critics, calling her racist for making disparaging comments about a female collegiate basketball star named Caitlin Clark, who happens to be white.
So when you look at Caitlin Clark and what she's doing now, on the verge of breaking Kelsey Plum's record, obviously generational college basketball career, how do you think her game will translate to the W?
So that's a two-part question for me. Because I say this, yes, records are made and set to be broken. But if you're going to break a record, this isn't just for Caitlin, but you asked me about Caitlin. If you're going to break a record, to me, if it's legitimate, you have to break that record in the same amount of time that that player set it.
Okay.
Right? So if Kelsey Plum set that record in 4 years, well, Caitlin should have broke that record in 4 years. But because there's a COVID year and then there's another year, you know what I mean? So she's already had an extra year to break that record. So is it truly a broken record?
Hold up.
I'm going to say this, and then I want to be done with this whole conversation. So for people to come at me and say that I made those comments because I'm a racist, first of all, black people can't be racist.
Black people can't be racist? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Joy Reid.
The United States has a population of north of 327 million people. Why do we need more kids?
First of all, black people can't be racist.
If more people come into the southern border, this is some sort of crisis because we've got too many people and we've got no more space and we can't afford more people. But now you're saying we need more kids? Can you explain who's the we and what's the purpose?
First of all, black people can't be racist.
I mean, you're also a white guy. Are you saying the we is white folks need more kids? Is this like a great replacement thing where you're concerned that there's not enough white people in the population versus the growth of the Latino population, the black population, and the Asian American population, and so the we is white people?
Now she's rounding third, heading for home.
White people need to make white women have more kids, and that's the we, and that's the why, because it's a little creepy. A little Handmaid's Tale-y, don't you think?
Another product of Harvard University. By the way, is that blonde hair color cultural appropriation? Asking for a friend. Back to Caitlin Clark. The whole controversy goes away, by the way, if Clark says she identifies as black. Problem solved. Now, former President Donald Trump is being criticized for saying the way he has been treated by the justice system increases his popularity among black voters. Trump got slammed for making a racist comment. Trump said, and I'm quoting, "I got indicted a second time, and a third time, and a fourth time. And a lot of people said that's why the black people like me, because they had been hurt so badly and discriminated against, and they actually viewed me as I'm being discriminated against." End of quote.
I'm being indicted for you, the black population.
A political strategist named Lucy Caldwell had a very strong reaction.
Donald Trump continues to be himself. He's out saying egregious things all the time. This week, Donald Trump said that black people are going to embrace him because they love his mugshot. That is so violently offensive.
ABC News president, a black female named Kimberly Godwin, reportedly said, no matter one's politics, the fact that a person running for president of the United States made these remarks, period, but also to a public crowd with so many black people present, and that they stand with them, is mind-blowing, shocking. These remarks are as racist as they come. End of quote. Really? Trump's remarks were violently offensive, as racist as they come? Sigh. I'm old enough to remember when black writer Toni Morrison referred to Bill Clinton as the first black president. Why? She made the same argument that Trump did. She said Bill Clinton was the first black president because of the way, in her opinion, he was being unfairly treated, particularly during the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Morrison said, quote, I said he was being treated like a black on the street, already guilty, already a perp. End of quote.
Do you buy Toni Morrison's argument that Bill Clinton was our first black president?
To repeat, Morrison said the very same thing about Bill Clinton, that he was being treated like a black man, guilty before innocent, and nobody called her racist. Trump makes the very same argument about the way he's treated, and according to Trump, that's why more and more black people identify with him, and now he's racist?
I'm being indicted for you, the black population.
Now, let's re-examine Trump's racism. I put this together for Epoch Times. 3.2 million views. It is beyond dispute, right? Water's wet, sky is blue. Donald Trump is a card-carrying, bona fide racist, right?
The President of the United States is a racist. His own words leave absolutely no doubt about that. What he is saying is not racially charged. It is flat out racist.
And this, of course, makes his supporters racist, right?
But for people who look like me, other minorities, women who have been, well, let's just leave this to race. This president has said and done so many insensitive and bigoted and racist things that if you support him, people like me want to understand why you ignored so much.
You know, to just be grossly generalistic, you could put half of Trump's supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables. Right? The racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, you name it.
But black unemployment, historical lows.
I think the economy is doing absolutely great, and it's particularly reaching into populations that heretofore have had very bad problems in terms of jobs, employment, and the opportunities that come with full employment. So African American unemployment is at its lowest level. I give President Trump, and I've said this before on Squawk Box, I give President a lot of credit for moving the economy in a positive direction that's benefiting a large number of Americans.
Yeah, but he's still a racist.
The problem here is that the president has unfortunately used language in the past that we will have a lot of difficulty in erasing, even with an eraser with the words unemployment drop. Because I think some harsh and painful words are just kind of hanging out here across the country as it relates to African Americans and some other minorities.
And what about the First Step Act? That's a law that allows prisoners who believe they have unfairly long sentences to have their sentences reviewed. And since President Trump signed that act, 1,000 people have benefited. 90% have been black men. They've had their sentences reduced an average of almost 70 months.
The Senate tonight taking bipartisan action on something substantial, overwhelmingly passing a major prison reform bill. The First Step Act eases federal sentencing for nonviolent offenders, aims to reduce repeat offending, and expands early release programs.
Did he say bipartisan?
Mr. President, thank you so much. It's almost hard for me to speak about this without being emotional. In the process of this has brought together friendships that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. I'm now texting buddies with Van Jones.
And speaking of Van White-Lash Jones.
How significant do you think this is? By the way, one of your partners in working on this was Jared Kushner.
Jared Kushner, whose father went to prison and who fought on this as hard as that. This is history. This is history. Right now, you're witnessing history on the floor of the U.S. Senate. There's a Christmas miracle underway where, for the first time in a generation, Republicans and Democrats are arm in arm tonight saying, we are sending too many people to prison. They're coming out bitter and not better. We want to make a tremendous difference. I want to say Hakeem Jeffries on the left, Jared Kushner, and Donald Trump on the right have brought together a coalition like I've never seen.
And what about Trump's Music Modernization Act? Something that, again, President Obama didn't even do.
President Donald Trump today moved the music industry into the 21st century. He signed the Music Modernization Act, legalizing the landmark copyright reform for songwriters. The goal is to ensure songwriters receive pay for the products that they produce when you're listening to them on streaming services. Tennessee Senator Lamar Alexander championed that new law. He says the Music Modernization Act is the most important law in a generation to help make sure that our songwriters and singers all over America can keep working and making a decent living by ensuring they're paid when their songs are played.
Is this a great day for songwriters?
It is.
And artists.
And artists, okay.
Yeah, don't give it
out
all
the
to
artists, okay.
Don't cheat those artists.
Don't cheat
now.
us.
Who benefits the most from this signing? I'm saying as far
I
as...
think both.
Both?
Both. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I lean more to the artist.
Yeah.
Because I'm a performer, you know. But it helps not just the writers, but the singers, and not just black, but black, white, all country, jazz, everything. So I'm very impressed behind that.
So it's a great thing what Trump is doing today, the president?
It is. And you know what? I told everybody, please, whatever your opinion or your decision, please, let's keep it signed. Let him sign it, please.
Today.
Don't mess him up, please.
All right.
Yeah, I'm really glad about that, yeah.
And then there's President Trump's support for school choice.
The time has come to pass school choice for Americans' children.
So on the campaign trail, Trump didn't talk much about K-12 policy, but when he did, he talked about school choice. And Betsy DeVos is a longtime school choice advocate.
Well, I believe that the family, that parents are the primary educator for their child or their children. And we have, to a large extent, removed a lot of that ability to direct and control by forcing way too many families to assign schools based on where they live.
Now, choice in education is something that blacks and browns want. Guess who doesn't want it? White Dems, who would never put their own kids in an urban school in a million years.
Now, the proposal that I brought forth on education ends all private charter schools in this country.
If I'm president, Betsy DeVos's whole notion from charter schools to this are gone.
We won't have the same choice that you make for your kids, because I read that your children went to private school.
My children went to public school.
But we even if it was public school, it probably was the best public school. I can't pack up and say I'm leaving Hyde Park and going to Germantown. That's our suburban area, because I can't afford it. My daughter can't afford it.
I understand.
So we want to make what we got great, whether it's charter or traditional. And really, public schools are charter in where I come from, and we make parents know that charter schools are public schools too.
So let me just say, I appreciate nothing more than how much you care about your children and your grandchildren and getting them educated, and that's all I want to do. If I don't have the pieces right, then I'll go back and read it.
Go back and read it,
I'll
please.
Go back and read it.
And I promise you, next time you see me, if it's reading the way it's going to benefit our children.
I'm not making promises. I'll go back and read it.
Go read it. Well, just read it.
That's it.
But it turns out that Senator Warren had a son in private school from the 5th grade on. But let's move on. What about illegal immigration? And what does that have to do with blacks?
Now we must implement an immigration system that will allow our citizens to prosper for generations to come. Today we are presenting a clear contrast. Democrats are proposing open borders, lower wages, and frankly, lawless chaos. We are proposing an immigration plan that puts the jobs, wages, and safety of American workers first.
A steady stream of people showing up at the building behind me. We're told 150 applicants in the first 3 hours of this job fair with about 30 minutes left to go. Cook Foods has not said how many people they're looking to hire, but the folks that we spoke with said they're definitely ready to go to work. Cook is just one of several chicken processing companies to get raided by ICE agents last week, with 680 workers detained for possible immigration violations.
Peter Kirsanow is a friend I've known some 40 years. He's a longtime member of the U.S. Civil Rights Commission.
Professor Briggs testified before the Civil Rights Commission. We had a whole host of people testifying before the Civil Rights Commission. The one cohort, the one demographic in the United States of America most harmed, most palpably harmed by illegal immigration are black Americans. And politicians, open borders politicians know this. They know this because there have been numerous hearings before Congress on this. I've testified in a number of these hearings. George Borjas has testified in a number of these hearings. Stephen Camarada has testified, and we've presented all of this evidence, all of this data, that the pernicious effect of illegal immigration, of open borders, has had on black Americans in terms of employment. Nearly 1 million fewer blacks work today because of the competition from illegal immigration than otherwise would be the case if we had a secure border. And it also depresses wage rates by a tune of $1,800 a year. George Borjas estimates that the depressive effects of illegal immigration on wages is anywhere from $99 billion to $118 billion annually, cumulatively, but it has the most significant effect on the black community.
And did I mention Trump's expansion of so-called enterprise zones that will benefit the inner city?
It's a big day. Yes, sir. Thank you. In a few moments, I will sign an executive order launching a new White House opportunity. This is a very big thing that Tim and I and everybody have been working on for a long time. And Revitalization Council. This council will coordinate efforts across the entire federal government to deliver jobs, investment, and growth to the communities that need it the most.
And then there's the commutation of the sentence of Alice Johnson, given a long sentence for a non-violent drug offense, and the pardoning of Jack Johnson, the first black heavyweight champion who was busted for a crime involving the transportation of a woman across state lines for purposes of sex. It was a BS charge just designed to nail him, and President Trump once again did something Obama did not do, and that is to pardon Jack Johnson.
A great-grandmother gets a second chance at freedom after President Trump commutes her life sentence. Alice Marie Johnson served 21 years for a nonviolent first-time drug charge, but a serious charge of drug trafficking and money laundering. Her story caught the eye of Kim Kardashian West, who made a personal plea for the release to President Trump last week. Johnson shared an emotional reunion with her family after walking out of an Alabama prison yesterday.
They are the folks who had been lobbying for this pardon for years now. Johnson was the first African-American heavyweight champ. And in what was seen by many as a racial injustice, Johnson was convicted of a crime back in 1913. That crime was transporting a white woman across state lines. He died in 1946. Senator John McCain, former Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid had also been pushing Johnson's case for years. But again, President Trump has posthumously pardoned Jack Johnson.
And did I mention that Trump has upped spending on historically black colleges and universities by 14%?
Education has the power to uplift. It has the power to transform, and perhaps most important, education has the power to create greater equality and justice in our lives. That's why today I'm thrilled to be signing an executive order to recognize the importance of historically black college and universities. Very important. They have played such an important role in achieving progress for African Americans and in our nation's march for justice. HBCUs have been really pillars of the African American community for more than 150 years. Amazing job. And a grand and enduring symbol of America at its absolute best. And I congratulate you all to say that.
Finally, a word or two about President Trump's support for law enforcement. Now, what does that have to do with black and brown people living in the inner city? Well, consider the Ferguson effect. That is what happens when officers are falsely accused of racism, as happened after Ferguson. Cops pulled back and crime went up. And guess who got disproportionately hurt by that crime? Black and brown people.
Well, the Ferguson effect is the twin phenomenon of officers backing off of proactive policing and the resulting increase in crime. Last year, we had the largest one-year increase in homicide in nearly a half century. The vast majority of the victims of that homicide increase have been black. The reason for this crime increase, I believe, is that officers are living today under a false and dangerous narrative that says that they are shot through with systemic racism, that we're living through an epidemic of racially biased police shootings, and that the type of proactive policing that I think is responsible for a 20-year crime decline that this nation has enjoyed is under attack as racially oppressive.
Bottom line, whether you're talking about the First Step Act, the Music Modernization Act, the tremendous economy that's benefiting black people, the fact that Donald Trump is doing something about illegal immigration, the fact that Donald Trump supports school choice, this man has got to be the worst racist ever. The man needs to go back to racism school. When, oh when, will CNN apologize for slamming moi for what I said about COVID and the vaccine? My agenda is crime. My agenda is homelessness. My agenda is the way the state was shut down.
That agenda, says Elder, includes rolling back the state's COVID restrictions, vowing to repeal mask and vaccine mandates for California state workers.
Will you follow the science?
I'm going to follow the science. I don't believe the science suggests that young people should be vaccinated. I don't believe the science suggests that young people should have to wear masks at school. I'm not sure the science is settled on that at all. And young people are not likely to contract the coronavirus. And when they do, their symptoms are likely to be mild, and they're not likely to be hospitalized, and they're certainly not likely to die.
The science says he's wrong on several counts.
This was printed by Stanford Medical School, October of last year. Quote, research findings could explain why young kids rarely get very sick from COVID-19. As a rule, infants and young children rarely develop severe or enduring cases of COVID-19. And those who do almost invariably suffer from some other serious medical problem. It's not that kids don't get infected. They do. More than 90% of kids age 4 and under in the United States test positive for previous or current infection by COVID. Yet although kids under 5 represent about 6% of the U.S. population, they account for fewer than 0.1% of COVID-19 deaths in the country. Researchers are intent on finding out why. End of quote. Now, again, what did I tell CNN? At school, I'm not sure the science is settled on that at all. And young people are not likely to contract the coronavirus. And when they do, their symptoms are likely to be mild, and they're not likely to be hospitalized, and they're certainly not likely to die. By the way, all of this is discussed in my new book, As Goes California, My Mission to Rescue the Golden State. And if you open up an account with Old Glory Bank, it'll take you about 8 minutes. When you get your debit card in the mail, activate it, and you will get a free copy of As Goes California, My Mission to Rescue the Golden State and Save the Nation. As to CNN, where's my apology?
I'm waiting!
An NFL draft prospect at a workout shocked people when he said, quote, I don't believe in space. I don't think there's other planets. End of quote.
You guys are discussing that you don't believe in.
Nah, I don't believe in space. I'm like, I'm real religious, so I think like we're in the wrong right now. I don't think there's like other planets and stuff like that. I don't know.
What led you to that point to believe that?
Well, like I thought you used to believe in like the heliocentric thing, like we used to revolve around the sun and stuff. But then like I started seeing like flat Earth stuff, and I was like, it was just kind of interesting. And then they started bringing up valid points. So, I mean, I don't know. Could be real. You know what I'm saying?
heard that?
Okay, here's my reaction. You remember Bum Phillips, that legendary coach of the then NFL Houston Oilers, the coach who always kept a vacant seat in the stadium for Elvis Presley long after Elvis died? Well, Bum Phillips drafted college running back Earl Campbell. And in the first rookie training camp, the assistant coach made Campbell do drills that required Campbell to run backwards. Campbell kept falling down. The assistant coach rushes up to Bum Phillips and says, "Coach, when Earl Campbell does these backward drills, he keeps falling down." Phillips said, "That's all right. We ain't gonna have him run backwards." So this rookie says, "I don't believe in space. I don't think there's other planets." Well, they didn't draft him to be an astronomer. Speaking of football, this is my friend, comedian Tom Dreesen.
I was a running back on an all-black football team, and we played against some of the toughest schools around in Allgale Gardens. If you know anything about Chicago, Allgale Gardens was a tough area, all-black area. And so we'd go to play them, we'd come running off the bus, and I'm the only white dude. There's 22 football players on the field, I'm the only white dude. And Allgale Gardens had a running back, his name was Leroy Connors, but his nickname was Lunatic. Because he was crazy, because he didn't want to tackle you when you got the ball, he wanted to kill you when you got the ball. And all the Allgale Gardens fans knew this. So when I come running out on the field, there's 22 footballs on the field, players on the field. All I hear from Allgale Gardens fans are, "Give the white boy the ball." Yeah, give that white boy the ball. Now, they call it trash talking today. But in my day, they did the same thing. It was called the dozens, though. You played the dozens. There was a dozen ways to talk about your mama, right? I'm a little white boy, and I don't know all this stuff. And so we're getting ready to go into the huddle, and Leroy, Lunatic Leroy, hollers out, "Hey, white boy, I saw your mama with a mattress on her back yelling curb service." I got in the huddle, I said, "He's talking about my mother." My teammate said, "Oh, Tommy, you playing the dozens. Talk about his mom." I came out of the huddle, getting ready for the play, and Leroy said, "Hey, white boy, I play the dozens and I play the game. The way I hump your mama is a crying shame." I said, "Leroy, I don't play the dozens. I play the 11 and a halves. I hump your 11 sisters and your half mama." And now, not only the stands, but my teammates are saying, "Give the white boy the ball." Yeah, give that white boy the ball. This will be fun. And Leroy hit me so hard. When I went to the left, he hit me hard. When I went up the middle, he hit me hard. To the right side, he brutalized me the whole game. Brutalized. Now I know what it would feel like if you're on the freeway and a semi hits you at 100 miles an hour. So all I'm saying is, if they ever pass that reparations law, I ain't paying.
Hope you enjoyed the Larry Elder Show podcast, brought to you by Yrefy. And to order my book, As Goes California, go to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. And if you don't know how to find podcasts, f*** off.
Anyway.
We've got a country to save. Out.